He's a legend.
Yeah.
He is a stuff of legends and myths.
He is.
And the master of them.
Yeah.
He's a genuine man, and he roots for you. He wants you to be good.
I would say I love how collaborative he is.
He's an 8-year-old fanboy. He's got a childlike wonder about him, and he loves to create geekgasms for other geeks that he feels akin to. But also, with that 8-year-old fanboy is a genius storyteller.
He seems to understand the different ways of working and different people and their energies and how best to talk to them and bring the stuff out.
Sally loves clear direction from take one. Richard wants clear direction after 2, 3, 4 takes. Octavia needs a partnership, you know. Shannon, if you go and make it very bare bones, he responds to that. You know, each actor is different.
Being directed by him is a joy because he lets you play what you brought into the room with you. He'll try that first always, and if it works, he won't over-direct it.
He has this incredible, precise vision, and he knows what he wants. And you want to do the best work you can in order to make that reality.
How closely did you get to work with Guillermo del Toro?
He was involved in the project in the early stages, but then he got into filming and directing himself, and so it was quite distant. But the funny thing about it is that he was always, available for notes, giving us ideas, and then guiding our project, because we can't do that without his blessing.
Kind of go wrong from there. It was so much fun. He just loves what he does so much. He loves film so much, and his knowledge of film is like no one else's. He's seen every single film, multiple times, can talk about. So it's just infectious being around him. He loves what he does so much, and he loves the worlds he creates. And it was just really lovely to work with someone who is so passionate about what they do.
So my second day working with him was on a green screen indoors, and lunchtime comes, and he sits across the lunch table from me, puts his tray down and says, and his chin goes into his hand and goes, "So tell me everything you've been in before." And I'm like, so I'm listing off my resume at that time, and I had done this is not 1987, so I'd done Tank Girl and Hocus Pocus and Batman Returns and and some various TV guesting and whatnot. The X-Files, I think I did an alien on that. So he's like, oh, and he knew every makeup artist I'd worked with, and he's like, oh yeah, did Tony Gardner do that? Well, is he a nice guy? So we're kind of like we're two 12-year-old boys going, ooh, monsters are cool. So when you're having that kind of a talk, it's like you remember each other.
Yeah.
So he said, do you have a card? So before lunch ended, I gave him my little business card, which was had my phone number on it and a goofy drawing I did of myself. And he kept it in his wallet. And then 5 years later, he was prepping for Hellboy, the first Hellboy movie. And I got another phone call from the Creature Effects house saying, I'm sitting here at dinner with a director who says he knows you, and so we have a creature that we'd love for you to come in and look at tomorrow. Are you free tomorrow? Yes, I am. So that was Abe Sapien from the first Hellboy movie, and that's what I reunited with Guillermo.
That's so exciting. And was this kind of one of those scripts that you knew you needed to be a part of as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Guillermo.
Don't say no to Guillermo. You don't say no to Charlie. I'm so lucky. I mean, that is just my dream. All I want to do, I've been doing this for 30 years, and all I want to do is work with great directors. If I'm going to act, I want to make it worthwhile. And so, a good script, there are so many elements that make it wonderful, but you just know you're in great hands with someone like Guillermo and Charlie.
When you get a script from Guillermo, is it just an instant yes?
When Guillermo talks to me, it's an instant yes. I mean, pretty much. I love his work, and I also know him a little bit, and I've heard him speak about cinema, and that's always very inspiring because he's very articulate, very passionate, really knows cinema, both emotionally and intellectually. He's really, I love him for that, his ability to express well and talk about cinema. And I love his movies. So if he wants me to do something, as long as I feel like I have something to contribute, like it's, like there's something for me to do, absolutely. So I was very happy when he asked me to do this. And the carnival world was also something that, He is a fantasy for me. I mean, I remember as a child going to sideshows when I was a kid, and it had a. I remember some of those figures very specifically.
First of all, when Guillermo was getting ready to do Hellboy 2, and the script started to circulate, and he left out this delicious little tidbit that at one point, Abe Sapien and Hellboy were going to get drunk on Tecate beer and sing Barry Manilow. Nobody believed it. And because, like, who does that?
Who does that?
In a superhero comic book movie, right?
But it's so genius.
And it's probably my favorite moment in the two films.
Guillermo was one of the first to truly see you as a leading man. I mean, had you wanted to step into that lane before? Because you were a successful character actor.
I said to him from the get-go, that's a great idea, and God bless you, I love you for even, entertaining the idea, but it'll never happen. And sure enough, for 7 years, he would go to these meetings at these studios, and he would say Ron Perlman, and they would go like this, and he never got the movie made. And then we did Blade 2, and Blade 2 opened to like $40 million on the first weekend, and everybody wanted to do Guillermo's next movie. And he said to himself, if I'm ever going to get Hellboy done with Ron, it's going to be this week. And sure enough, somebody said to him, how do I get in the Guillermo del Toro business? And he said, well, I really want to do this movie Hellboy. And they say, okay, any conditions? He goes, yeah, Ron Perlman. They go, okay. There was a loyalty aspect to it, but there was also this, like, he was convinced, this is the way I want to make the movie, and if I have to make the movie the way you want to make it, I'm not going to make it at all.
It's a lot of lies to keep her marriage going. Octavia Spencer, welcome back to the table.
Thank you for having me.
Congrats. The Shape of Water, I have to tell you, I don't even know how to describe what I saw yesterday. It is so well done. It's been described as weird, wonderful, one of the best films of the year, and you are so good, and the movie is so good.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you said that you liked it the minute you read the first scene. How is that possible? What did you see?
Well, I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan. I've seen everything he's directed and just about everything he's executive produced. And he's an auteur, a true auteur. And when the first scene, when everything is underwater, I said, oh my God, they're going to be doing things like this. I want to be a part of this movie. So I knew it would be magical.
He said he wrote it for you. What does that mean to you? You two met.
We met, and it was supposed to be, we were supposed to discuss the movie for about 30 minutes over coffee, and 3 hours later, we still hadn't talked about the movie. We talked about everything.
What were you talking about?
Oh, life, love, antiques, our love of antiques, dieting, I mean, everything. Everything but the movie.
Guillermo wrote the book that this was based on. He wrote the script, and he produced it. And pretty much, for the pilot, he was the central person involved. In terms of working with him, when he interviewed me, he said that he liked to look at cut footage every day, which sort of freaked me out. Because, it takes me a while to get scenes to put together. But I said, fine, no problem. Not really knowing, what it would be like. And at first I was concerned to, get the scene as good as possible before he came in, and indeed he started coming in every day. And after a couple of days, I realized there's just no way I could really show him something that looked really good. I mean, because you work on scenes, they sort of evolve before you show them to anybody. He would come in, I'd have a scene partially cut, or maybe my very, very first pass. And what I discovered, I felt comfortable because I saw this when I first started, is that he has the knowledge to look at something and not go, oh my God, what's the problem here? It looks terrible. So I felt very comfortable, and I'd come in and a scene would be partially cut, maybe it would be only halfway through, or I wouldn't have put in any of the reaction shots or something, and he'd occasionally say, well, I did this shot specifically for this reason. But I'd say, look, Guillermo, it'll look better tomorrow. When I come in, and I show it to him, and so I felt very comfortable with it.
What's happening?
I don't know.
I was always, in the past, worried about showing people stuff before I felt it looked really good. And for me, it actually made me feel more comfortable after that, when I'd have directors come in and I would just feel, well, I'll show them whatever I have, and if they can understand it, great. If not, I'll just have to live with the, well, don't you know this and don't you know that? And I meant, without their actually having heard me say it's not finished. So that was one of the things. And the other thing is he really has a vision of what he wants. And when you're working with someone like that, it's fun.
Well, I think Guillermo del Toro will make a big statement today just by having his beautiful film being awarded, or I will say nominated. And I wish he win because I think it's his most beautiful film of all.
Of all the great storytellers you have had the privilege of working with, what is perhaps unique about Guillermo as a storyteller, as a director?
Well, his movies manage to put together monsters, stories, love stories, open the chests of his monsters and show their heart. And his direction is incredible. In this film, the camera never stops. It flows on and on and on. There's no steady shots. It's all in movement, in motion. So the music also follows that, this current that never stops. That's what I love about him, and his precision, the way the actors are directed is perfect. It's just, he's a master.